We've got them. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is that wall? Did you build all those walls?
I did. That's a bridge.
Oh, gosh, wow.
And I built it, yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
so that bridge goes across the stream.
That is so cool.
And
There's a stream.
yeah, there's a stream there too. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to have water. I love
Yeah, yeah. No, there's definitely there's little fishes and frogs and dragonflies and the whole deal. Yeah. And the stream wouldn't be flowing if we didn't dig the sand out of it for 27 years. But now we did, and now we have it. So. And the hills are just full of rocks, and I've been going out in the hills and bringing back rocks for 27 years and building stuff out of them. So,
You can actually see the stream behind the person.
yeah, I think there's a couple slides that do show the stream, but there's also a YouTube channel that you guys can go to. There's all kinds of videos of all kinds of that stuff. So there's the last slide has the YouTube thing on there. Anyways, so the mind, I think, is maybe the most important thing. You know, our bodies are something, but our mind can make our bodies better. The mind can make our bodies worse. The mind can make everything better, or it can make everything worse. And the mind has problems and doesn't necessarily tell us about it. Whereas if you stub your toe or hurt your finger, you always know about it. But when you're struggling inside, you don't always know about it. And sometimes when you can come to a place that's new and beautiful, you can sit down and listen to some nature and just be for a minute. All of a sudden, sometimes things just come out. You're like, holy cow, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm feeling something or not, you know? And people go through anxiety. We live in a very anxious world, a fearful world. We're getting bombarded with information, if you will. And it's all fear-based. You know, everybody's afraid of everything anymore. And I'm like, man, it doesn't have to be that way. What if you came to a place where you didn't have to be afraid for a little while? And maybe learn how to compare what's real and maybe what's not, or whatever. I mean, I'm not here to tell you anything other than what's possible. Depression, the older you get, the more losses we have, right? You start out, you're in school, you graduate school, everybody grows up, graduates, gets married, has kids, kids grow up, get married, have kids, next thing you know, people start dying, and you start doing funerals. And we're all in that spot, you know? We've all been to more funerals than we want to, and it sucks, but it's life. And so depression's part of life. And how we deal with it is also a choice that maybe we know about, maybe we don't. So coming to grips with depression in a natural place, I can tell you, for one, it's helped me immensely. I've gone through a lot of losses myself, and just sitting in the garden has been miraculous for that. So any mental issue, I'm confident. Then you get to the spirit, and that's, in my opinion, probably the biggest part of it all. You know, what makes the difference between somebody who is successful and somebody who becomes a career criminal? I think it's your spirit inside. That's what drives you. What causes you to get up in the morning or not? What causes you to smile or frown? All of those things. That's your spirit. And again, we get stricken with things like grief. You know, and how do you deal with it? Some have a loved one turn their back on you, or whatever. All the horrible things that happen in life. And what do you do with it? Do you get angry and bitter, or do you find a way through it and grow from it? Addiction. We live in a time when addiction's never been more prevalent. And it comes from all directions. It starts with pharmaceutical and doctors, and then all the farther extreme of everything else. I mean, there's just so many ways to get addicted today, and no good ways to get unaddicted. Well, maybe there is one. Maybe there's a way that we can work with being in the garden, doing constructive projects, being mindful, all of the things that can come out of the garden. I believe that we can create an addiction recovery program through this that will be miraculous. So it's in my mind, it'll happen for sure. And loneliness. That's another thing, that as people get older, a lot of times you find yourself, like I know as I've gotten older, I've gotten rid of more people than I've brought in. Now I'm in a new vein where I'm bringing a lot of more people in, but I know a lot of people, as you get older, you get set in your ways. You don't want to put up with people's crap anymore. And when it's easier to toss somebody to the curb than to bring them back, right? And what do? We toss people to the curb, and next thing you know, you haven't talked to anybody in a couple of days. You're like, where's everybody? And there is a lot of loneliness. And so I believe that getting people together, doing an enjoyable activity, that's a cure for loneliness just right by itself. And so, you know, my thinking is like we set up a senior garden club that we just put out there. We haven't launched it yet officially, but as we get people signing up for it, we will. And I think it's going to be a great little thing. Second Sunday of the month, we're having seniors come over, and we'll come up with some little project. We'll create it as it gets built, but I think that's going to be a way to bring people. My vision is that we'll get funds to bring a vehicle, a van, or something that we could go and pick people up and make it easy to come and visit. And that's part of what I see the future.